Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 2 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 2 and then click on view all lessons. So there you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapters time, and the lessons we're going to cover today are match analog clocks and time, match digital clocks and time, read clocks and write time, half an hour and half hour, read clocks and write time. So let's just start with the chapter time. Okay, here I am on grade 2 math. So the chapter we're working on is time. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is match analog clocks and time. So let's just start with the first lesson. What time does the clock show? So you are given a clock. You have to see what time is shown on the clock. So just look at the clock. You have two hands of the clock, right? The shorter one and the longer one. They both point to 12, right? They both hands point directly to the 12, right? The shorter one is the hand, the short hand is the hour hand, and longer one is the minutes hand, right? So the shorter, that means the hour hand show 12 hours, right? The longer hand represents the minutes, and that means it shows because it points to exactly 12, right? That means it shows 12 and 0 minutes, 12 hours, and the clock shows 12 hours and 0 minutes. Minutes are written with two digits, so minutes is written 00. You can write the time 12 and 00, right? That means it is exactly 12. What time does the clock show? Again, both of the clocks, larger and uh, the shorter one and the larger one points to 12, right? That means shorter hand is the hour hand and the longer one is the minute hand, and they both points to 12. That means that is 12 and 00, right? The clock shows 12 and 0 minutes. Okay, the next one is, what time does the clock show? Both hands point directly to 12, right? So the clock shows same 12 hours and 0 minutes, right? Let's just start with the practice question. Let's see if we have different clocks on the test. Okay, yes, we have a different one. What time does the clock show? You can see this one. This is the short hand, right? Shorter hand, and it points to 3. And the shorter one is for the hours, right? This one represent the hours, and this one represent the minutes, right? So you can see this one points to 12. 12 means 0, right? This means 0, and here it points to directly 12. That means it is 3 and 00, right? So option number 2 is the correct option. The correct option is 3. Okay, what time does the clock show? So the shorter one represent hours, and it directly points to 1, right? If you match, it directly points to 1. So that means 1, and this larger one, this longer one points to minutes, right? So it matched to exactly 12. That means it matched to exactly 0, right? These, the corners, then the dots and the triangles shows the minutes, right? So that means it is 1 hour and 0 minute. The correct option is option number 1. What time does the clock show? So you can see both hands, the hour hand and the minute hand points to the same 12, right? So that means that is 12 hours, and for the minutes it would be 00, right? The numbers represents the hour and these lines represents the minutes, right? So that means it is 12 hours and 0 minutes. So option number 3 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? So just look at the clock. The hour hand points to 7, right? And the minute hand points to 12, right? That means 7 and 00. That means it is 7 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 4 is the correct option. That is 7 hours and 0 minutes, right? What time does the clock show? So which is the correct option? You can see the hour hand, the small, the shorter hand points to 8, right? And the longer one points to 12. That means it is 8 hours and 0 minutes, right? The correct option is 8 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 2 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The clock shows 3 o'clock. The correct option is option number 1. The clock shows 3 o'clock, or 3 hours 0 minutes, right? What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The clock show 4, right? That means it is 4 hours and 0 minutes. The correct option is 4 hours and 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The correct option is 12 hours and 0 minutes. The last option is the correct one. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The correct option is the correct option is 5 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 3 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? You can see the hour hand points to 8 and the minute hand points to, sorry, 1 and the minute hand points to 0. So it would be 1 hour and 0 minutes, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So if you need more help with the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9. Let's just start with the next lesson. And the next lesson is match digital clocks and time. Which clock shows 1:30? So you are given two of the clocks. You have to see which clock shows 1:30, right? 1:30 means you have 1 hour and 30 minutes, right? So just look at this one. Here you have 1 hour and 30 minutes. So that would be the correct option, right? Okay, which clock shows 9:15? So which is the correct option? 9:15 means the clock that shows 9 hours and 15 minutes, right? So which is the correct option? 9 hours and 15 minutes. So that would be option number 1, right? So the correct option is option number 1. The clock shows 9:15, that is 1, because 9:15 means 9 hours and 15 minutes. So that would be the correct option. Which clock shows 10 o'clock? Which is the correct option? 10 o'clock means 10 hours and 0 minutes, right? So option number 2 is the correct option. That is the clock that shows. Basically, this is the analog clocks, right? Analog or digital? Digital clocks, sorry. Okay, let's just start with the test questions. Okay, which clock shows 10:30? This one is the digital clock. Let me show you the analog and digital clock so that you cannot be confused which one is analog and which one is digital clock. This one, just look at this one. Like the wall clock, right? This one is usually the wall clock. Wall clock is the analog clock, and the clock in which you have the time written in the digital form, digits form, right? That would be the digital clock, right? Okay, the next one is, which clock shows 10:30? Which is the correct option, 1 or 2? 10:30, right? 10:30 means 10 hours and 30 minutes. So which is the correct option? Option number 1 is the correct option, right? That represents 10:30. Option 1 is the correct option. Which clock shows 1:30? Which is the correct option? 1:30 means 1 hour and 30 minutes, right? So which is the correct option? It would be option number 2. That represents 1 hour and 30 minutes. Which clock shows 11:30? Which is the correct option? 11:30 means 11 hours and 30 minutes. So which is the correct option? Option number 1 is the correct option, that this one shows 11 hour and 30 minutes. Which clock shows 8:15? Which is the correct option? Eight fifteen, 8 hours and 15 minutes. So which is the correct option? Eight hours and 15 minutes. That would be the second option, right? Which clock shows 5 o'clock? Which is the correct option? Option number 5 o'clock means exactly 5 hours and 0 minutes, right? So that would be the second option, that shows 5 o'clock. Which clock shows 3:45? Which is the correct option? That means 3 hours and 45 minutes, right? So option number 1 is the correct option. It would be 3 hours and 45 minutes. Option 1 is the correct option. Which clock shows 2 o'clock? Which is the correct option? 2 o'clock means exactly 2 hours and 0 minutes, right? So option number 2 is the correct option. Which clock shows 5:10? Which is the correct option? 5:10 means 5 hours and 10 minutes, right? So option number 2 is the correct option. Oh, 5:15, sorry. Not 5:10. Option number 1 is the which clock shows 5:15. So that would be option number 1, 5 hours and 15 minutes, right? Which clock shows 9:15? Which is the correct option? 9:15, 9 hours and 15 minutes, right? So option number 1 is the correct option. Which clock shows 10 o'clock? So which is the correct option? 10 o'clock means 10 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which clock shows 2:45? That means 2 hours and 45 minutes. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. So if you need more help with the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9, right? Let's just start with the next lesson. Read clocks and write times, hours and half hour. The next lesson it is. What time does the clock show? Okay, so to look at to find the hour, you have to look at the hour hand, right? That is the hour hand, the shorter hand, and it directly points to 11, right? Then for the minutes, you have to look for the minute hand, so that would be the minute hand, and it directly points to 12, right? That means this one, that means that is 0, so that means 11 hours and 0 minutes it is. What time does the clock show? The next one is. So to find the hour, just look at the hour hand, right? So the hour hand points to 6. That means that is exactly 6 hours and 0 minutes. Let's just start with the practice questions. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? You are given the minutes 0, right? Just look at the hour hand. So the small one is shorter one is the hour hand. So it points to 2, right? That means it is 2 hours and 0 minutes. The second option is the correct one. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? Just look at the hour hand. it directly points to 6, right? That means it is 6 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 1 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? The hour hand directly points to 11, right? So that means it is 11 hours and 0 minutes. The correct option is 11. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The clock points to, the hour hand points to 10, right? So that means it is 10 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 2 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? So which is the correct option? Just look at the hour hand. The shorter one is the hour hand, right? It points to 3 o'clock. If you already know the answers, you can write down the answers in the chat box. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The hour hand points to 9, right? That means it is 9 o'clock. What time does the clock show? Yes, very good. That would be 5 o'clock or 5 hours 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The clock point to 7, right? That means it is 7 o'clock or 7 hours 0 minutes, right? What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? Yes, it is 2 o'clock. The correct option is 2 o'clock, right? What time does the clock show? So, which is the correct option? The correct option is 3 o'clock, right? So option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let's just move on to next lesson. The lesson is very easy, but still no one is answering. Why? The next one is read clocks and write times. Okay, what time does the clock show? So just look at the hour hand, right? That would be the hour hand. That is exactly the midway between 8 and 9, right? You can see midway between 8 and 9. The clock points to the midpoint, mid to 8 and 9, right? That means less than 9 and greater than 8. Just look at the hour hand. It points to 30. That means it is 8 hours and 30 minutes, right? Because the 8 hours and 30 minutes it is. Okay, what time does the clock show? So just look at the hour hand. They both point to directly 12, right? That means it is 12 hours and 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? So just look at this one. The clock points to directly midway between 10 and 11, right? That means it is 10. Just look at the minutes hand and it points to 6. 6 means 30. When you count from here to these lines, it would be 30. So it would be 10 hours and 30 minutes, right? Let's just start with the practice questions. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? Just look at the hour hand. The small one is the hour hand. It points to 10 and the minute hand points to exactly 0. That would be 10 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 1 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? It would be 12 hours and 0 minutes, right? Option number 3 is the correct option. 12 hours and 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? It is 9 hours and 0 minutes. Option 2 is the correct option. What time does the clock shows? Which is the correct option? The clock shows 4 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 2 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The correct option is yes, the hour hand points to 6, so it is 6 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 4 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The correct option is 9 hours and this one points to you already have minutes given, it would be 9 hours and 30 minutes because the hour hand points to the midway between 9 and 10, right? That means it is 9 hours and 30 minutes. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The correct option is yes, it is 5:30. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The clock shows 8 hours and 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The clock show 5 hours and 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? The clock shows 11 hours and 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? Yes, it represents 3 hours and 30 minutes. You just have to look for the hours, 3 hours and 30 minutes. What time does the clock show? The clock shows 3 hours and 0 minutes. Option number 1 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? It is 2 hours and 0 minutes, right? Option number 4 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? It would be 7 hours and 0 minutes, right? Option number 3 is the correct option. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The hour hand points to 1, right? So it would be 1 hour and 0 minutes. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? You are given the minutes, you just have to look for the hours, right? So it would be 7:30, right? Because it is less than 8, so it would be 7:30. What time does the clock show? The clock shows 8:30 it is, right? The correct option is 8:30. What time does the clock show? Which is the correct option? The clock shows 12:30 it is. What time does the clock show? It would be 10:30. What time does the clock show? Yes, that would be 4:30. Okay, we are done with the lesson. So we were working on grade 2 math and we're working on the chapter time. The lessons we have covered today are match analog clocks and times, match digital clocks and times, read clocks and write times, half an hour and half hour, read clocks and write times. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we did today. So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9, right? So if you have any question, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. No questions? Okay, that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.